Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗤𝗘𝗙𝗿 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. I'm going to talk about three things today. Number one, the Birthright Citizenship Act, the latest status on that one. Number two, what is happening to those students who had supported Hamas in the rallies that followed October 7, 2023 incident. And also the third thing is, what did President Trump talk about in Davos in the World Economic Forum? So all three things will be discussed today, one after the other, right back, one behind the other. A small request to all of you to please like this video, and here we go. A 14-day stay has been given on the Birthright Citizenship Executive Order that was supposed to have kicked in on the 19th of February. So for 14 days, it's going to be pushed out. That means you can add another 14 days, so probably 1st of March, assuming that after 14 days, the stay gets lifted. What happened? Well, there was a federal judge in the state of Washington who issued a 14-day temporary injunction saying that this was blatantly unconstitutional. Remember, I told you about this thing. It is about the interpretation of one sentence. What does it really mean? A more detailed hearing will be conducted on the 6th of February in front of the same judge, and both sides will submit detailed arguments. Of course, the Trump team said that, no, we know what we are saying and we are very confident that the judge will see our reasoning and so on and so forth. But there is a precedent. That means something that happened on the same lines on Amendment 14. It happened more than 130 years ago, 1898 to be exact. What had happened was in 1898, a child born to San Francisco parents, that is parents who lived in San Francisco legally, who had the US citizenship, he had traveled to China in 1894 to visit relatives. And then when he came back to SFO in 1898, he was denied entry citing Chinese Exclusion Act. They had very racist acts in those times, by the way. But what happened after that? The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that he had every right to enter and live as a US citizen as anybody else. This is the name of the person, Wong Kim Ark, and you can see the stamping there. On 1894, November 15th, he departed from San Francisco as per a steamer. So he probably took a ship to go to China, and this is the proof of the stamp of his leaving. But the Supreme Court did say that he had full rights as any other US citizen to come and live in the United States. This was the last time Amendment 14 was challenged. So this would also be used as evidence to say that at least for the legal residents, that children who are born of those who came in legally, they should be given full rights, full citizenship rights, I think. And as far as the illegals are concerned, it's possible that there could be a split in this reading. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just seeing what are the existing laws that support something and that don't support something. That's all I'm trying to say, and don't take my word for it, because I'm hearing that many parents who's were about to have children, they are trying to have cesarean births so that the child will be born before the deadline. Well, you have 15 more days now, and I think that more things are going to happen between now and the next next 4 weeks. So stay tuned. This is a hot topic and a lot of people are weighing in on this. Just wait till the dust settles. So I'll be updating you as always on all these things. Next, Trump targets foreign students who are supporting Hamas. You have liked this video, haven't you? Well, what happened was there's an executive order that he has signed. He says that any foreign student supporting the designated terrorist organization Hamas shall be deported. Now, this one is not going to be challenged. There is no challenge for something like this. This is an act of whatever you want to think of it. It's it can be an act of, well, see, they are not citizens of United States. Like, for example, a student comes from XYZ Islamic country and protests here. That is what we are talking about. It doesn't apply to American students who are protesting. However, any foreign student protesting for Hamas, they are in danger of being deported. Now, what are they going to do? They're going to go and look at who are the people who are going to look at it. Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and US Customs and Border Protection. They will be implementing this order. They'll be looking at videos in great detail to find out who were the ones who are seen at the protest, and those people's pictures will be matched with their I-94 records, and their schools will be notified that this person is being deported. It's going to be bad news for many. I've been telling you again and again, as a student, your only job is to learn whatever it is that you have gone to college to learn. Learn it as well as you can. Put your head down. Don't get your head wrapped into politics. Your parents have shed blood to get you there, to give you a better future. Please don't waste it. This has been very consistent stand of mine. Also, some of you are saying, how come you are so shocked with Major General Rajiv Narayanan's analysis of what Trump has been doing? Look, I have told you, and I've been very consistent about this. I'm an independent, and I also told you that if Trump succeeds in 30% of his endeavors, that would be a great success. These things will happen. They will fail. It's not so easy. It's a democracy. It's got roots, 200 years old. 200. In fact, it's going to be 250 years next year. So I expect that some things like this will happen. These challenges will happen. So you just have to wait and see which ones stick and which ones just go away. Okay, so this order mandates the identification and removal of individuals who bear hostile attitudes towards American citizens, culture, government, institutions, or founding principles, and who advocate for aid or support designated foreign terrorists and other threats to our national security. This is very clear. This one, no gray areas here. This shall be implemented. And this is titled Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats. It's trying to say that United States protects its citizens from aliens. Alien is anybody who's not a US citizen. Even I think green card holders are called resident aliens or something like that. Anyway, don't take my word for it. But what an alien is, not from outer planet, but aliens in this particular terminology means those who are not US citizens. So anybody who espouses hateful ideology or otherwise exploit the immigration laws for malevolent purposes. So this is the first section 1. Then it goes on and says more. Identify all resources that may be used to ensure that all aliens seeking admission to the United States or who are already in the United States are vetted and screened to the maximum degree possible. So the onus now shifts to those countries from where the visa is being sought. What is going to happen is there will be better or more vetting process for visa issuance itself. So the students are going to find it more harder to get F1 visas. That are the student visas when they are coming in. And this applies to Indian students also. Basically, they are going to make sure that you don't happen to have some extreme ideologies. Like, for example, say if you are coming for a master's, in your bachelor days or in your high school days, did you participate in any protests pro-Hamas? I can tell you again, many Islamic brothers and sisters of India, please pay heed. You don't ruin your future, because United States is not going to take you in, even as a student. I've said this thing before, and I'm very clear on this. As a student, it's not your job to get into politics. You don't understand it. You've been living in a sheltered environment. Your parents have been paying for your upkeep. Don't waste your future. Don't jeopardize your future by participating in these activities just because your girlfriend wants to go and participate or your best friend wants to go and participate. Use your own brain. God has given you your own brain. Use your brain. Don't do it. Study, graduate, and find a good future for yourself. That's all I can say. Okay, in 60 days, the key officials must submit a joint report to the president on how many people have been identified. My guess is it will be in thousands. It will be in thousands. And all of them are going to be deported. Not only that, the countries from where they got their visas those countries will be identified. I'm afraid there may be some from India also, and India may also have this enhanced vetting process. That means a lot more procedural things before you can even get your visa. Nothing like just applying for a university, get an admission, get an I-94 from them, or whatever form that, not I-94, it's called I-20, I think. It's been so long, I'm sorry. So you get some paperwork from the university. You have to take that paperwork along with your passport to the consulate, and then they stamp on your passport and give you the visa. I think that process also they're going to do a lot more checking. So people have to understand that it's a gift to come and study in United States. They do have some of the best institutions, notwithstanding all these ideological nonsense that I see. That these are still very good institutions. You can really enhance your understanding of how the world works. So don't fritter it away. My sincere advice to all of you. I know you're not asking me for it, but as a parent who has brought up my children, I can tell you the parents are so afraid that let the kid just not fall into the wrong company, and that's all I can tell you. Politics is no place for students. Students need to go and study. Sorry to take so long to emphasize, because I can't tell enough. So many are ideologically so, brainwash is not the word, but you read something and you think that's all the truth. Especially in this world of disinformation, it's very, very easy to get led astray. So please be careful. Now, the immigration crackdown also, there are other things that are happening. For example, there are some cities called as sanctuary cities. San Francisco is one, Chicago, New York City, many Democratic run cities where the mayor happens to be a Democrat. They declared themselves as sanctuary cities. What it meant is you cannot arrest an illegal for not having the proper papers. And they have become a burden on these states. In fact, San Francisco is practically unlivable right now. There are areas in San Francisco where there are only drug addicts. There are people who are violent criminals, and they panhandle very aggressively. And if you don't pay them any money, they just hit you, attack you. In fact, one CEO of a startup company got attacked, I think 4 a.m. in the morning. God only knows what he was doing at 4 a.m., returning from a party or whatever, and he died. So San Francisco has become unlivable, and witness the fact that Twitter, or now X, Elon Musk has pulled out the headquarters from there. He's going to Texas. In fact, he has moved Tesla also to Texas. So a lot of people are leaving California in droves thanks to these boneheaded policies of these left loony liberals. I mean, practically this assembly and the Senate is filled with them. I have nothing but contempt for their ideological stance. They are all very accomplished academicians, but they seem to have lost what the world is about. I'm very disappointed. I've spoken to many of them, very disappointed, especially when the SB 403 was doing its rounds. These people also are pretty egoistic. And it seems like the ego comes wrapped with when you become a politician, that I know what is good for you rather than you. I mean, that gets a little bit under the skin for many. Anyway, so the Trump Department of Justice also warns Democratic leaders of potential prosecution for aiding and abetting human smugglers. For example, any mayor in some of these cities, if they are found to be standing up for these smugglers, they are also in trouble. They're going to pull funding back from these cities. There are some special fundings that come for cities that is also in danger. So this is not something that you can stop. This is basically how government functions, and Trump is well within his rights to do all these things. Now, there is a new Department of Justice unit that is focusing on enforcing immigration plans in sanctuary cities. By the way, remember I had told you that Tom Homan has said that there is going to be a huge crackdown in Chicago on the 21st of January. Today we are at 23rd. He had said that there would be a big crackdown. Looks like there was a crackdown not only in Chicago but in several cities. They are very active. In fact, I'm told 1,500 strong army force has already reached the border, the southern border, and it's going to swell to 10,000. So America is dead serious about protecting its borders. I think, again, if you have not seen that series called lioness, you will not understand the gravity of the situation along the border. I think that is why this very strong action is being taken. Plus, Texas is a Republican state. Texas was screaming loud that this is all happening, and the center, that is the federal structure, which under Biden was not willing to do anything. In fact, there was a joke called the border czar. That was Kamala Harris's appointment. The lady never even went to the border. What a joke. I mean, when she was asked in an interview, why didn't you go to the border? The way she replied, it is, I didn't go to Europe either. Is that an answer? And she ran for president. I mean, the deep state thought that if they put a donkey, which is a sign for Democrats, the donkey would win. That is how, how much their heads are in the clouds. I would love to see the deep state pulled down, brought down to earth. Anyway, so that's something that's a long-term process. We don't know how far it's going to happen. So now many officers are also being added in the Department of Justice to handle all these things. You have a lot of work going on. So those are the two things. The last one I want to talk to you about was Trump's address at Davos. He wanted lower interest rates, lower oil prices. He said Ukraine is ready to settle. He also said that America is back. He said that NATO should do its share for trying to help US protect its borders, and NATO got a real earful there. We don't know what NATO is going to do. Many of the politicians attending some of the Western European countries were really shocked at the tone and tenor of Trump's voice. Trump always has the shock and awe. He comes in with a lot of bluster. It might not end up being that. Some people say he barks more than he bites. Well, the biting part comes when the law assists him, or the rest of the machinery comes along and listens to him. By the way, there is trouble brewing in the department of whatever it is that Robert Kennedy is working on. There are two senior officials that have left there. Also, I'm hearing that the chief legal advisor for the DOGE has also quit. So some more realignments are going on, but expect this, okay? When Elon Musk started Tesla, the first VP of engineering quit after like 8 months or 10 months or something like that. It was a very detailed story in the Fortune magazine or Forbes magazine. One of those two, I remember reading that. And he said that this place is going nowhere. He's autocratic, this, that. Yet, Tesla managed to bring out their first car called the Roadster, I think 2 years later, and then afterward they did the Model S, which was a huge success. I was one of the first ones to buy the Model S's, and in those days, when you went to pick up your car, this was in Fremont, California, you were given a tour of how your car gets built. And at that time, they were building individual cars. When you sign up to buy a car, you go to the online option store of Tesla, you check this, check this, check this, check this. And as you go through this thing, they show you that this is where your frame is fitted, this is where your seats are chosen, this is how the paint is changed, this is how the other features like, sensors and blah, blah, blah are fitted. Very impressive tour. My takeaway there was they were using some special alloys of aluminum, and how they were having this battery, which is like a flat piece that was on the bottom of the car, and you can lift the car up and then change the battery in 5 minutes in case that technology becomes available in the future. Right now, they don't have that. The battery you buy is what you are going to use. I have one car that has crossed 10 years, working just fine. It's not like the charge is not holding up properly. It seems to be doing just fine. So in terms of what Elon has been able to deliver in Tesla is nothing short of a miracle. So Elon is that kind of a guy, is an alpha type, and so is Trump, so is Vivek Ramaswamy, so are many of these industry leaders. It will take some time for them to kind of mesh properly and work. There will be some knuckles, there'll be some bones that will crack here and there. You just have to give them some time, and that will play out too. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, let me see if there are any questions from any of you guys. Yeah, there are a few questions. Let me just line them up here. Okay. All right. Just give me one more second. I hope you've liked it. There were lots of comments. I'm sorry, I had to look at the screen, so I can't really follow. But those who have asked, that this is where putting a hash ask helps so that I can line up the questions properly. Here we go. First question from Manoj Soma. Can we expect Indians were replaced in Hamas supporter place if Hamas supporters deported? Your views? Any good news waiting for India, sir? Have a nice day, sir. Well, like I said, my guess is that children of legal parents should be able to get their citizenship and stay in US. I think that is where the law will fall. But for the illegals, I don't hold out much hope. I think that's where it's going to go. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I have not practiced law, and don't take my word for it and plan your future. Wait and see how things pan out in the next few weeks. We will keep you posted. Next, Elmo wants to know, what will these Hamas protesters reveal? Qatar or Soros sponsorship, or both? They don't know who's sponsoring. All they see is that somebody is giving them water bottles, somebody is giving them tents, somebody is giving them material. This is a playbook. In fact, I had revealed the contents of the playbook once. I mean, they had everything. They had like 5 different categories, and if you wanted to support a particular category, this is what you had to do: 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a very detailed process. Soros or no Soros, whoever bozo it is that was doing all this, they all will face a lot of pushback now. People will not take them at face value and do whatever it is that they want them to do. Next question from Ghana's Galore. Is it true that Vivek ticked off MAGA folks' H1B tweet and so they booted him? No. I'll tell you what it is. Would he win Ohio government election being of Indian origin? It is possible that he might win. He needs to work very, very hard. He needs to take people along. See, if you are going to be a serious politician, you have to be inclusive. What Vivek had said, which is different from what Elon had said about H1B, was Vivek said that you need to not just bring them in, but you need to also allow them to assimilate into the society better. Whereas Elon Musk's version appears to have been more like you bring in workforce for just being workers, not give them a path to rise up. And that was where the difference was. I think Vivek's is a more wholesome attitude, and I think he needs to explain that to the people of Ohio. And Ohio is a 50-50 state. It's a very, very close Democrat, your neighbor could be Democrat, your neighbor could be Republican, that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a good, interesting battle. The whole world will be following that. Satyanarayanan wants to know, what is applicable to protesters of Hamas must be applicable for those protesting for Khalistan as well. I wish that were true. Satya, this is, see, the Khalistanis have not committed any, mass murders yet. So I'm not saying they will, but that's where, in fact, it was an interesting thing that happened. Remember that one huge protest where the Khalistani supporters attacked Hindu temple worshippers and those people who had come there for their proof of life certificate. Many Sikhs of Canada were aghast that these people went and attacked a temple. That really, they revolted and they were really repulsed by that, and they have actually come out very strongly in support of Hindus of Canada. So there is a storm brewing there. These guys are going to get their awqat very soon. Don't worry. The light life. Don't warn the Islamic students, just do not come to USA if you follow the Quran and therefore believe in jihad. Light life, we are all human beings first. I'd like to see, because these students are not really that well informed about the world. They study at home, their fees is paid, their food is taken care of, their parents come and take them to practice, take them to coaching, whatever. They're very sheltered. And when they come to college, all the shackles are off. Suddenly somebody is coming and saying that, you are, because of this, your ancestors did all these bad things, therefore you shall repent. That sort of shit that goes on campuses these days against Hindu students. So I'm just giving them the benefit of doubt, saying that please listen to me as somebody who has gone through this process. I mean, my children went to school when, school meaning undergrad school, when things were not this complicated. Now it's really, really bad. So, Sri Rakulan Kuhat Hassan. He wants to know, Elon Musk was not one of the original founders of Tesla. He joined later on as an investor after selling off PayPal, but he single-handedly took Tesla to such heights. Yeah, it's possible. I haven't really gone into the details, but at some point it was all Elon at Tesla, and that's where they found the big real progress. He's pretty good at what he does. I mean, somebody explained what is it that makes him tick. They said that when Elon looks at something, he puts his 100% focus on that one problem for 5 minutes. He knows that he has a very limited amount of time. He gets deep into it, understands the problem, comes up with the solution, and then moves on to the next one. That's how you divide your active time to make sure that you are able to run so many companies. Now with DOGE, that's an even bigger effort. So I think we should give credit where credit is due. He's an incredible individual. I would say he is a true successor of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was like this, and you will find such geniuses, and they find expression in a country as great as America. You don't find them in other countries. Very, very sad. Anyway, this is just the reality. I'm not saying you cannot. Even Elon Musk, who's a South African, had to go to the United States to find out his true potential. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and please like this video. Thanks once again. Namaskar.